Hello, welcome back. I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen. And how are you doing today? We are on soap number 3 of the Here Comes Summer soap series. And this one is like one of those days where your hair turns out perfectly fine and it looks not fine. Where this soap was like one of those days where your hair looks great. Right? You walk out of the house feeling great because you're having a good hair day. And then it's raining and blowing 70 miles per hour and you get to where you're going and your hair just looks like absolute chaos. That's this soap. That's how this soap was for me. So let's go check out this next soap, Just Peachy. Okay, into our soap, Just Peachy. So this starts off with coconut milk in the water. Yes, we are. Hopefully I put that video out. It's just a short on how I make my coconut milk. However, I did such a good job that I forgot to make it for all of the soaps. So there's only a couple of them that have the coconut milk in there, which is fine. It's fine. I seem to be having more problems remembering to put my kale and clay in my soaps than anything else. So this fragrance oil, take note of this, is called Fresh Peaches from Aztec Candle Company, or Candle and Soap Supply, or whatever they're called. Okay. And interesting how the color is in the soap, isn't it? That's the only problem I have with Aztec Candle Company, or whatever. Unless you read through the reviews, there's no notes on soaping or discoloration or anything. So you have to look at the vanillin, and even that you could have discoloration even if it's no vanillin in there. And then the reviews are, oh, it's great, it's good, it's, if you're a soaper, it's kind of frustrating. I'll be honest, it's very frustrating. But moving on, we are using Brambleberry Orange, I think it's Sunset Orange, with a tish of Orange Neon mica right there. And then the green is Lush Green from Mad Micas. Figured I would try that one. I have a little container of it, and I'm trying to find my green to replace the Kelly green that Brambleberry used to have, and they don't carry anymore, which is so sad. Very sad. I think this is another one of those times where my micas kind of just give me heck mixing them up because, they solidified in the bottom of the bowl. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, and we also have titanium dioxide in here to make those colors pop a little bit more than they would if it's just the plain soap batter color. Okay? Got it? Okay. So for this, we are going to do a bowl swirl without the side-to-side pour. Okay? So first we got to swirl our soap. Get it in there. Obviously, this fragrance oil does not accelerate the soap batter. Like our last one. And not a side-to-side pour, basically a drop, swirl, anywhere pour, zigzag pour. There was no rhyme or reason to how I was pouring this soap. Very, very fluid. When this happens and it's so fluid, I sometimes worry that it's going to be a muddy look. Okay? So I'm already going, oh, I should have waited until the colors set up a little bit more. But what can you do at this point, right? You just keep going. So put the little bit of green on the top, put the little bit of orange on the top. And before I do any swirlies, we are going to add some eco glitter for a little bit of bling. You know, I used to measure out my micas. Sometimes I do randomly. So I always knew how much I used. But when it comes to like the eco glitter, stuff like that, I got no clue. But I do add, when I figure out the cost of my soap, I do kind of try and figure out, roughly, how much that eco glitter is. But, so we're swirled to the one side, we swirl to the other. Looks super cute. It's still super fluid. Yeah, there's no way I could have done I would have had to sit there for another 20 minutes to let that set up. Yeah. Cute. And here we are the next day. Nice, solid bar. Look at that. Shiny, pretty, nice on top. Pretty cute. It is a little muddy. To me, it's a little muddy. It's a little too much green and not enough orange. Not enough orange. And I think I made I made Peachio last year. That was a really good bar. Different fragrance oil. But that one I even had in my notes, put more orange and less of the green and the white. And unbeknownst to me, this year, I didn't look back on those notes or anything. I think I just looked at what orange I used, and that was that. So, what's a girl to do? Learn eventually, that. I guess I don't live by a peach tree, so maybe that it is more green foliage and just a few orange peaches peeking out. Kind of like an orange tree. I don't know. It's possible. They're cute. I like them. What do you think? Well, there's nothing absolutely wrong with them, except for one thing. So here are the bars right after I cut them. And here they are 6 weeks later, scentless. No scent whatsoever. As PO'd. So I shredded it down. I melted it. I added more fragrance oil and rebatched them. So if you want to know if Aztec Fresh Peaches works in cold processed soap, I'm going to give you a heck no. No, it does not. Does it work in hot processed soap? Hello, Daisy. Yes, it does. It smells absolutely amazing. And it's stuck. It is still in the soap this many weeks later. Well, it's been cured twice over. So definitely sticking in the soap. Thank heaven, because I was upset. There is nothing worse than designing, creating, and going through the work, and then the dang scent fades before it cures. Like this thing was fading the first week after I cut it. I was already worried at that point. I'm just fixing those rough sides. Yeah. So, yeah, I was just livid. But this smells awesome. And I did add a little extra mica orange, obviously. I didn't add any more green or anything. I just added a little bit more orange mica to the batch and got my, more orange, more peachy. So yeah, this soap, it didn't get to get the Peachio name. It got the Just Peachy because I was just frustrated. Just frustrated. And I really didn't know, like, at first I was like, I'm just going to make a new one. And then I'm like, no, I'm just going to rebatch this sucker and see what happens. And yeah, so glad I did. So glad I did. Anyway, here are the fragrance notes for this Peachy double cured bar. here are the bars when I first cut them the second time, and here are the bars when they are totally cured, and they smell amazing. As you can see, I will explain the term Just Peachy to you. So in our family, if somebody's like, how you doing? And I would say just peachy, that means it's a crappy day. It's like a rotten peach, okay? Funny thing is when my daughter got married and her husband would come home and, you know, she'd be like, how's your day? And he'd be like, just peachy, you know? And she's like, well, what was so bad about it? You know? There's nothing bad about it, but to him, it meant something else. In our family, it means it's a crap day, things are going bad. What else can you do? So just peachy is not just peachy, it's just peachy. It's when you want to growl at somebody and you're just like, it's peachy. Of course, another funny thing is when my middle son was little, I'd say he's about 3 or 4, and he would call a peach a booch. A booch. Yeah, like a booch. I can't even say it quite right how he did, but he just couldn't say peach and a booch. It was too funny. Okay. I don't even know if I have that on video. That would be funny if I had it on video. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. So 3 things to take with you. Be kind, be forgiving, and be you. And as always, I hope you had a good time. Thank you for dropping by, and I will see you next time. And God bless.